G'day, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this edition of MGUY EV News for Saturday, the 6th of July, 2024. Please make sure you're subscribed and please make sure you enable all notifications so you never miss another MGUY video. So a really interesting one to start with today about how EVs are actually exacerbating the gender divide. It's quite interesting, the points they raise. I think a lot of mothers and women in households, responsible for kids and stuff like that. And I think they're actually getting scared about the fact that an EV just isn't as reliable as a gas car. And they also raise some points about charging safety, public charging safety, as we'll see. Women feel even more left behind. How electric cars drove a gender divide. Macho marketing and manly designs are exacerbating the industry's hyper-masculine image. The car industry's woman problem has long been a subject of criticism, from macho advertising to the lack of female-shaped crash test dummies. It was hoped that the dawn of electric vehicles, EVs, might offer a useful moment to turn the page. But on current trends, electric car cheerleaders risk being disappointed. Worrying research by online dealer Auto Trader shows the problem is getting worse, not better. We imagined there was going to be this great moment for some of that gender imbalance we've seen in the past to be redressed with EVs, says Catherine Fayers, Chief Operating Officer of Auto Trader. Slightly depressingly, we have found the exact reverse. Women feel even more left behind by the EV transition and find it even more daunting. That's due to a combination of a lack of confidence, very technical language being used, and horror stories they've read about. So this is a real challenge for the industry. Yet the strongest push factor came from a worry about EVs that is common to both sexes, range anxiety. Women are even more concerned about this than men, Auto Trader's study found. Women are much more likely to be doing high dependency journeys, where they've got other people such as kids, family and friends in the car, Fayers says. So actually the fear of running out of charge or the fear of tech not working is really amplified for them in that buying journey. For example, whereas 39% of men agreed an EV might not be charged when I need it, this rose to 49% among women. Auto Trader said this likely reflects the outsized role many women still play in the home, taking on more childcare duties, organisation of family calendars and chores than their male counterparts on average. There was a fear that came through really strongly. What if I need to take my child to hospital or my dad's ill and I've got to do something, says Mark Palmer, head of insights at the company. These are things they wouldn't ordinarily say about petrol or diesel cars, and it's really holding them back in making a switch. In the survey last year, one female respondent said, "I can't help worrying about what might happen if I forget. I might end up stranded in an emergency." Another gave a more specific example. "Our youngest daughter has health issues. We need to know we can get in the car and go to the hospital quickly. It would be a disaster if we had an EV and it hasn't charged properly." Women also shared concerns with men about whether there were enough public charge points, while worrying more about issues of safety. Sometimes charge points are poorly lit and tucked away in the background, says Palmer. While 53% of men said they felt safe using public charge points, only 43% of women said the same. Over 55s were the most concerned, with only 33% agreeing they felt safe doing so. Well, I've mentioned the safety of charging points in the past, and actually putting the fueling station in a controlled environment like a petrol station is actually far safer than just chucking charging stations in the middle of nowhere, which are a safety risk for women on their own. How do they deal with that when they've got kids in the car? Oh, I just can't imagine having to stop and charge your EV for an hour or even half an hour when you've got a screaming child in the back who just wants to get home. I can't think of anything worse. So some of these old classic cars can breathe a sigh of relief because a company that was threatening to convert them to electric power has gone bust. Oh dear, how sad. Never mind. British EV maker collapses after failing to deliver a single car with all staff made redundant. Why would you want to buy an electric Mustang? An electric classic? Why would you do that? Well, obviously nobody did, because that's why they've gone bust. A British EV manufacturer has collapsed and made all staff redundant after failing to deliver a single car. The company was aiming to convert an iconic classic into a new age electric muscle car. Charge Cars, headquartered in Hillingdon, West London, hope to take advantage of demand for electrified versions of older motors as classic car enthusiasts seek out greener ways to drive. Why would you bother with a classic that sits in the garage for 90% of the time? You take it out on a Sunday for a couple of hours and you're worried about the environmental effects on that? You've got to screw loose if you're worried about that. The firm was only going to make one product, an electric version of the legendary 1967 Ford Mustang. Ford had even granted it a license for the design, allowing it to make their own shell for the car at its West Drayton plant. A 63 kilowatt-hour battery was to be mounted into the floor to power the vehicle with a projected 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just 3.9 seconds. What a pointless waste of time. I'm sorry for the people who've lost their jobs, but really, this is insanity. The Ford boss just cannot make up his mind. On the one minute it's all gung-ho for EVs, the next minute they're going back to petrol and diesel engines, and now, as it says in the title, Ford CEO Jim Farley posts an insightful ode to electric vehicles as a lifelong petrol head. Ford Motor Company CEO Jim Farley recently posted an opinion piece to social media, sharing a fresh and inspiring perspective about his newfound love for electric vehicles. As a self-described lifelong petrolhead, Farley definitely found his niche by heading one of the world's most prominent automakers. Given his foresight into the future of electrification, it's easy to see why he's CEO, and better still, he has the data to back his statements up. I mean, go and read the whole thing at the link in the description if you like. Here's just an extract from it. I think I'm going to try not to vomit when I read it. As a lifelong petrolhead, I was surprised as anyone when I fell in love with electric vehicles. It wasn't government policies or political beliefs that sparked this late career romance with electric vehicles. It's because I drive one, my Ford F-150 Lightning Platinum. It's astonishingly quiet and smooth. The effortless acceleration leaves you with a silly grin once you get the feeling back in your face. Every morning mine is topped up with 300 miles of range. No gas stations ever. It's that Oh, shut up. Seriously, shut up. You live in luxury in a house with off-street parking where you can just drive up to your garage, plug it in and have it charged. Most people do not have that luxury, and they need the reliability of a petrol car. Seriously, make your freaking mind up. Another story here from Australia where people are resorting to, frankly, quite dangerous ways to charge their EVs on the street by dangling cables, and it's illegal and, quite frankly, dangerous. Electric Vehicle at-Home Charging Act sparks, get it? Outrage. An electric vehicle owner has generated a wave of community outrage after running an extension cord and charger across a suburban footpath. A driver has sparked outrage from neighbours for running an extension cable across a suburban footpath to charge an electrical vehicle. Keith Bensley was out on his morning walk in Sawtell on New South Wales mid-north coast when he came across the hazardous obstacle leading to a parked car on the roadside. It surprised me. It was a real trip hazard, he told the ABC. Mr. Bensley said the cord snaked all the way from the gutter to the top story of a nearby block of flats. The electrical engineer, well, he should know what he's talking about, noted the unorthodox charging method wasn't just a tripping hazard, but a serious fire hazard too. There was no attempt to put anything over the cable, and it had rained the night before, so it was nice and wet, he said. If water had got in between the plug and the socket, it can actually burn and could start a fire if it was on dry grass, he said. Mr. Bensley supposed the car owners must have been desperate. Well, they shouldn't have bought an EV if they live in a flat, should they? If they're not prepared to do the hard yards and go to public charging stations and sit around and wait. You can't just buy an EV if you live in an apartment and expect to drape extension cables across other people's property and the public footpath just for your convenience. Sorry, bad luck. Today's Cybertruck silliness. Cybertruck serves briefly as a sinking boat while stuck in lake. The first Tesla Cybertruck in Slovenia had to be rescued from a lake by passing swimmers. Isn't it funny, whenever you see Cybertrucks on social media, they're failing to do the truck thing. They fail at everything. They're freaking useless. Piece of junk. Elon Musk has made a lot of outlandish claims about the flagship Cybertruck, including that it will survive the apocalypse and will even be able to serve briefly as a boat should the world flood. Well, those sailing credentials have been thrown into doubt this week after footage emerged of a Cybertruck stuck on the bank of a small lake. The truck was reportedly the first Cybertruck to make it to the European country of Slovakia. There it was offering test rides to Tesla fans, reports the Slovak Spectator. While attempting to show off its rugged abilities, the truck was driven into Malé Košariška Lake, which is about a 20-minute drive from the capital city of Bratislava. The lake, a popular spot for summer swimming, clearly seemed like a good spot to test Musk's claims that the Cybertruck could serve briefly as a boat. However, once wheel deep in the water, things started going downhill for the truck. That's enough of that. Seriously, what a great advertisement for how brilliant this Cybertruck is. Bet loads of people in Slovakia are now going to rush out and buy one, right? And finally, this week's self-driving hilarity. Cop confronts driverless Waymo car that freaked out and drove into oncoming traffic. An Arizona cop got quite the surprise when he recently pulled over a white Jaguar SUV for an alleged slew of reckless actions near a construction zone, and the car turned out to be a driverless Waymo taxi with no one inside. Newly released body cam footage from the Phoenix Police Department shows how the officer chased down the vehicle near 7th Avenue and Osborne Road on June 19th after it allegedly drove into oncoming traffic, ran a red light and freaked out, according to dispatch records obtained by AZ Central. How can these things be out on the road? It ran a red light, drove into oncoming traffic and freaked out, but it's still allowed to be on the road. If you were a driver, like a human driver, and you did that, you'd be banned. So these bloody Waymos should be banned as well, shouldn't they? What the F is going on? The officer's confusion is audible after he goes up to the driver's side of the vehicle, which is designed to pull over when it detects emergency lights and sirens, well, at least it managed to do that properly, and sees that the car he had stopped doesn't have a driver. Let's watch a bit of the video.
No, can you show me out at 7th Ave in Osborne? I got a unmanned vehicle that was kind of taken off from me. It's a Waymo car.
Has it stopped?
Yeah, it stopped. It's a 92 Adam Sam, or a 92 Adam 2 Sam Paul, and there's no driver. So, your car here drove into oncoming lanes of traffic.
Okay, I will go ahead and take a look at that right now.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of a construction area, and it went into opposing lanes of traffic, which is real bad.
This is the thing, we're beta testing this kind of self-driving technology on the general public, on public roads. I mean, all of these Waymos should be taken off the road right now. If it's capable of driving into oncoming traffic, running a red light and then freaking out. If you were a human driver and you did that, you would be banned from driving. So these Waymos should be banned from driving also. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye for now.